So guys, when I wanted to make this video, I did not want to make a video about particular items like this car or that thing or a tennis court or blah, 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 or a mega hot tub. Nobody, look, whatever. Those things aren't super important. Some retired people, they can afford anything and everything. These 10 luxury items were more of a thought process analysis for me, where I wanted to get some theory out there about what happens to the retired, what happens to the disabled once they are no longer to do the functions that made them who they were, and who they are now is such a different just human being from who they used to be. So these are the 10 luxuries that SSA recipients have essentially lost going forward. And I think that it's incredibly important to listen to the specifics of the words that I use, because these are not easy to comprehend. And I'll give a quick summary after them so you can understand where I was coming from when I created this list. But number one of the 10 luxuries SSA recipients have lost. These are the disabled who have lost them, the retired who have lost them. Number one, knowing you have more jobs yet to work is a luxury. The elderly and disabled breathe with borrowed air, while those remaining gulp and swallow the endless supply. I'm going to read it again. Number one, a luxury that the recipients of SSA benefits, disabled, retired, have lost. Number one, knowing you have more jobs yet to work is a luxury. The elderly and disabled breathe with borrowed air, while those remaining, those who are going to go to work, those who are going to continue to work, gulp and swallow the endless supply of air. Number two, the luxury of knowing your last big check, the last big deposit, is a cage with glitter passing through its bars. Again, number two, the luxury of knowing your last big check, the last time you're going to make big money, the last big deposit, it's a cage with glitter passing through its bars. Number three, the elderly and disabled know their place in all of this. Sadly, because their boundaries become more clear with each day's completion. That is a luxury, if you want to put it more simply, where not knowing what your boundaries are, not knowing what your potential is, that's a luxury. Number four, the great luxury of not seeing little LED lights and electronic sounds until Christmas has finally come for Social Security recipients. They've got all these little machines, all these little beeps, all these little hospital thingies. Very tough thing to realize. Number five, faith in every level of government and the agencies that act on their arms. That's a luxury that the disabled and retired will never have. Never have. They can't have it again. Again, faith in every level of government and the agencies that act as their arms. You can only have a child believe that at this point. You can't sell people on going into the military because they don't believe in what the country's doing. It's tough. There was a time where people believed heavily in the government and its agencies and its capacity. Heavily. But the modern system we have, you could only have a child believe in that. You could only have a child believe in it. Number six, the luxury of knowing that they are safe from man-made super viruses, bacterias, and funguses. They will never have that luxury again. They will never have the luxury of saying, as a disabled, as a retired person, that I'm safe from what could be made in a lab, that could be released, that could be potentially harmful. And that's not a political statement of what happened over the past couple of years. That's just, it is what it is. We now have that fear. It's not like the bubonic plague where we're like, well, that was back then. That was, that's not gonna. Number seven, spending time with their families on holidays. Most Americans are starting to work on holidays, and throwing a party for someone is very expensive now. So for the retired and the disabled, having the luxury of people being able to share family time is becoming more and more of something that was part of the past. Number eight, the luxury of traveling cross country. especially now that fuel is so ridiculously expensive and parking costs and hotel costs, RV parking costs, because, they pay extra because they're setting up shop. It's just too expensive. That's a luxury that I think the retired are just going to not really be able to utilize in the future. Number 9, the luxury of a low stress retirement. Anyone feel relaxed anymore? Anyone feel in control of the length of their benefits? I know a lot of old people who felt like they were going to get so much money at the end of the day, but now they're sitting there thinking, well, what are the politicians going to do next to take it, tax it, and then not give it to me in general when I should have been able to access it? Number 10, the luxury of feeling safe driving around, driving an RV to a new location, driving a car to a new location. Boy, has the culture changed. People don't feel safe at night going to a fuel up station. People used to leave their doors unlocked. Their kids would run amiss like unguided rockets all along the neighborhood. Oh, they were such beautiful unguided rockets. They would just missile themselves into trouble, but it was okay. It worked out at the end, right? Okay. I'm going to read through these very quickly again so you understand if you just joined onto it. Number 1, knowing you have more jobs yet to work is a luxury. The elderly and disabled breathe with borrowed air, while those remaining gulp and swallow the endless supply. Number 2, the luxury of knowing your last big check is the cage that you're going to be staying in, where glitter passes through its bars. Number 3, the elderly and disabled know their place in all of this tragedy and excitement and what's going on. They know their daily schedule, sadly, because their boundaries become more clear with each day's completion. Number 4, the great luxury of not seeing little LED lights and electronic sounds until Christmas has finally come. Right? All of the little upkeep medical machines that people have to use to stay alive, stay happy, stay breathing, etc. Number 5, faith in every level of government and the agencies that act as their arms. People don't have the luxury of that faith anymore. Believing in their government, believing the government will do the right thing. And you know what destroyed it? It was my legal industry. It was the legal people. It was the judges. It was the lawyers. It was those doing the legal this and that, creating subpoenas, creating affidavits on behalf of the ABCs, the FBI, the CIA. We lost our connection to it. Remember, there was once a time where we used to sit back and be like, I don't trust the CIA because they're hiding all those aliens in Area 51. Now everybody's like, look, it would be weird to be the only sentient beings in the unlimited, unfathomable, lacking in like we can't imagine the greatness of how big the universe is. It is inestimable, right? So now we're like, well, of course there's other stuff out there. We can't be the only ones. We're not that egotistical, or maybe we are, but who knows, right? Okay. Next one. The luxury of knowing that they are safe from man-made super viruses, bacteriuses, and funguses. 7, the luxury of being able to spend time with families on holidays. Most Americans are starting to work on the holidays, so it's just not going to happen in the future. Number 8, the luxury of traveling cross-country, especially knowing that fuel is so expensive and parking costs are high and hotels and motels and RV spots. Number 9, the luxury of a low-stress retirement. Anyone feel relaxed anymore? Number 10, the luxury of feeling safe driving an RV to new locations. Boy, how that culture has so changed. So changed. Remember the local bars? People would go there and they'd have fun. And then they started making movie after movie about how like there were these bar fights that would break out and this and that. Bars were never that in the very, very beginning, right? Everybody would work a crap job in some god-awful, mine or forest or, cave. And they had to go, they then after that went to the bar. They got cheap beer. That was the social thing to do for the area, right? You had a bunch of crappy houses and one local bar and one local church. And that was the spiel. That was how you did it. Right? That was the center core of the American. We're going to make this little landmass turn into something that we can develop and be incredible. Number 10, the luxury of feeling safe, driving an RV to new locations. Oh, sorry, we already just did that one. But the point is with that, and I feel that this is very important, what made America unsafe was allowing Americans to feed on the desires of those who were given something. If everybody had a baseline, yeah, we may not have as many people wanting to work, right? Okay, and then we get artificial intelligence and robots. Why do we need them to do the same work? Why do we need somebody in the tractor pulling the levers, right? We get to a point where it's like, oh crap, now we don't need the human doing the thing. My point is, at some point, the system is going to change. And at some point, we need to figure out what that's going to look like. Some people will scream, it's going to be a republic. Some people will scream, it's going to be communism. Some people will scream, it's going to be socialism. Some people will scream, it's going to be capitalism or a monopoly. I mean, whatever it is, we need to start figuring out what that is going to be. Because when you move out to settlements on Mars and space stations, and when you have robots and artificial intelligence doing all this stuff for us, what does it look like? Do we keep making money off of humans? Is that going to be our goal? And that's what they do. Banks make money off of humans. The government makes money off of humans, right? Suppliers of products, suppliers of services make money off of humans. At some point, do we need that anymore? Do we need to make money off of humans that are buying treats for their dogs? Do we need to make money off of humans that are basically wanting to ride a motorcycle around? At what point does it change? Final thoughts for the night. And then I'm going to basically go work on a few things. Something big happened in my life. It's actually something not incredible for most people, but for me, it was like a big thing. Number 11, the bonus round. If loneliness invited fear for dinner, loneliness and fear, you would have a happy couple that you should never double dinner date with. Number 12, I hope all of you, old and young, find someone one day whose inner and outer beauty to you is a loan you could never repay. A toast to those as a payment of jest when you have yet to be in debt to someone who shares in your fascinations. Guys, have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will catch you a little bit later. And please remember to take care of yourself. If I made you think, please like the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Part of the biggest problem is we get pigeonholed into this little idea of like, this is the thing. This is how it works. We can always make it better. There's always room to make it better. And I don't mean little stuff. I don't mean like we write this bill, we change a period, and then we make it law and yay. I mean like the big stuff. I mean like your kids could live better, not shittier. Think about that for a minute. My kids are going to live worse than I did. I lived worse than my parents did because my parents had better jobs. It sounds terrible to say that, but it is what it is. I would like to see the future generation of humans doing better, even if it does cost a little to me to get it to that place. I will see you guys later. You have a wonderful night, and we'll go from there. Have a wonderful night, guys. All right. Bye-bye. Have fun. Bye-bye.